Hey everyone, this is your Entrep guru Avinash Ramsbag, and today we're doing feasibility analysis. What is a feasibility analysis? So it's a comprehensive evaluation of a proposed business idea or venture to determine if it is technically, economically, and operationally viable. The purpose of a feasibility analysis is that you would want to minimize the risks associated with starting a new venture or engaging in a major project. It provides valuable insights that can help in terms of decision making and guiding entrepreneurs in allocating their resources wisely. So, the benefits of a feasibility analysis is that it helps with regards to reducing the level of risk that is involved in terms of a decision. It also helps you in terms of our resource allocation, making sure that we allocate resources into areas that will give us a higher likelihood of having a success. And it also ensures that decision making is objective by evaluating data that is found in our research. So we look at the different types of feasibility, and the first one is our personality feasibility. And a major area for that personality feasibility is SWOT analysis. The entrepreneur needs to analyze themselves, and they need to analyze their team. They need to be able to determine where their strengths are. I don't look at it as weaknesses, but where their areas for development are. What opportunities are there out there for them, and also what threats are there. So what happens is that if the entrepreneur realizes that maybe it is that they don't have that ability to handle this new area that they're entering into, maybe it doesn't mean that they have to say no one time, but what can happen is that they can maybe look for other persons who can assist in terms of helping them. And if they really realize that it does not make sense, well, then they can make that final decision on whether or not to continue with a project or not. We also take a look at technical feasibility. And with technical feasibility, you would want to take a look at our technology requirements for a new venture or a major project. Whether it is that you have the technology that is available, whether it is you have the equipment and infrastructure available, or if it is that you have to acquire it. You would also want to take a look at the skills and expertise of your team, because you want to make sure that they can cope with this new venture in the first place. If it is that we don't have it, it's either we don't move ahead or we realize that training was necessary and therefore we need to engage in that. The next area is our operational feasibility. And with regards to this, we are looking at the day-to-day runnings of the business. So we would take a look at the processes and workflow to ensure that the business can move smoothly. We would also want to determine where are we getting resources from, and therefore, if it is that it can be easily accessible, and if it is that that accessibility can be sustained for the period of time that the business needs it. In terms of our financial feasibility, we would want to take a look at two major areas. We are looking at our startup costs, so we would want to determine how much our startup cost is going to be. Sometimes it is that the entrepreneur may not have the necessary financial funds in order to pursue their project. And if they don't have it, it may not be a deterrent, but it can be a challenge, and therefore the entrepreneur may need to look at alternative ways of accessing that funding. So it means that they really need to understand how much is really needed. In terms of their revenue projections, part of that would also take a look at also their profitability, and therefore we would look at expenses. So we would want to take a look at exactly how much the entrepreneur is forecasting that they can make. Now, in terms of that forecasting, therefore, they will have to take a look at what we call a return on investment. Because in that case, I don't want to go and say I'm going to put out $1 million and then afterwards I don't anticipate that I can make that back at any point in time. In terms of my marketing feasibility, I need to be able to identify that target market and make sure that I can develop a strategy that can actually cater to that target market. If it is that it is difficult to cater to that target market, it may be a bit of an issue. We would also want to take a look at the market size and trends to see what is the growth potential for this market. We also take a look at time feasibility. in terms of how long does it take to bring our product to the market or for us to launch and start generating revenue. Sometimes it is that it can take a very long period of time. We don't want it to be that way, so therefore we would want to take a look at what is realistic in terms of us getting a profit, in terms of us being able to launch. If it is that it's taking too long, we may have to reconsider either in terms of whether to pursue it or not, or find alternative means to get the business to market at a faster pace. We would also take a look at our industry feasibility. So we would have to take a look at what is our existing competition, what are the strengths and weaknesses of those competitors, and again, how do we build that unique selling point? And we will also take a look at any kinds of regulatory constraints. Do the competitors have any kind of protection? Are there any kind of license or certifications that are required to get into this industry? And if that is the case, it can be a deterrent, or it can take us a little longer to enter into the industry. So therefore, we will have to see if it is making sense or not. We would also take a look at our cultural feasibility. So we would want to take a look at our norms and values in terms of society, because we would want to know whether or not our product will be socially acceptable or not. If it is that it can be a product that is difficult to be accepted onto the market, then it may mean that you have to do a lot more marketing. That there's a high likelihood of also that your product can be rejected. So therefore, you have to anticipate that, okay, there can be variations in terms of your expectations with regards to revenue. Moving beyond just the areas of feasibility, we move on to what's the distinction between market research and a feasibility analysis. So what you would find is that with market research, we focus a little more on the 4 P's of marketing, whereas with regards to feasibility analysis, we look more at the entire business as a whole, whether it can be turned into a business. So going more in depth into that, what we would find with regards to market research, the focus is more on understanding the market, customer preferences, behaviors, and trends, whereas a feasibility analysis would look at the practicality, and viability of a proposed project or business venture. So what it will do is that it will take a look at the entire thing as a whole. So one is looking at a bit more micro, which is market research, and the feasibility analysis is a bit more macro in nature. Objectives. With regards to objectives, it is the objectives will look at gathering and analyzing data related to customers, competitors, size, the demographics, the psychographics, and buying behavior. With regards to feasibility analysis, we're looking more at the technical, financial, operational, legal, and scheduling feasibility. So in this case now, what we are looking at again is that the ability of the business itself to operate compared to the market itself. In terms of scope, a market research looks at identifying market opportunities, such as demand, such as strategies for marketing, such as product development. Whereas with regards to feasibility analysis, it's looking at analyzing the resource requirements in order to get that business off of the ground, in addition to the potential risks or challenges. In terms of utilization, market research is used to make informed decisions about the market in terms of whether or not you should enter into that market, the product, pricing, and promotional activities. Whereas with a feasibility analysis, it looks at decision-making to determine whether to proceed with a product or an idea. All right. So again, it looks at the business as a whole. All right. So that is the end of my presentation. I want to thank you again. This is your Entrep Guru. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.